Here we are, Warchant.com. We're at Topgolf in Jacksonville, Florida, where Willie Taggart just completed his first tour stop. And started out, Corey had a chance. By the way, Corey Clark, guru, Warchant guru, writer,
thank you, Gene.
everything else.
That.
And joining us here with Aslan. So we had almost the whole Warchant contingent here. Ira's back minding the store in Tallahassee.
Right.
But got a chance to talk to him with a little media session about 10, 15 minutes earlier. And then he finished up speaking to the fans, taking some questions. A lot of things to go over. Nothing crazy newsy, Corey, but some impressions today. First of all, I want to say, let's get this out of the way. Really better turnout than I thought. In a younger crowd, I think they did a really nice job having this at the Topgolf instead of, I think, last couple of years it's been at a country club.
Yeah, I mean, that obviously, Gene, I have a mic.
I knew I was
here we
going to
go
do that again.
Yeah, you know, it's not the country club. It's not stale. I mean, I've never been to a Topgolf, but this thing is pretty awesome. I think it's a cool place. I think they'll have a couple more maybe at one of these in different cities.
Right?
I think so. So, I just think I was kind of blown away by how cool Topgolf is. I'm definitely coming here with some friends. As for Willie Taggart, you know, there was a lot of stuff to talk about. I thought some of the more interesting stuff, obviously, was him talking, you know, him saying to Gene Deckerhoff during his Q&A session with Deckerhoff, yeah, we don't have a playbook. Kendall Browns doesn't have a playbook. We don't do a playbook. And then one of the fans during the fans Q&A session was like, hey, man, can you talk us through how you don't have a playbook? And he's like, we don't have a playbook. And then he goes, look, I was just as skeptical as you are. I was really skeptical when I heard that. But he saw it work in action this spring and in the spring game. And I guess he said Briles' main point was it's hard to go fast when you're having to look down at a script all the time.
Yeah.
So, I mean, hey, it's worked for – you can't argue with the results that Kendall Briles has had in his career. So Willie's hoping to get that. And I thought another interesting thing about Willie giving up the offensive plays was when he said that last year he probably, looking back, he should have done it last year. He said his ego got in the way of his instinct. His instinct, he said, was to do it last year, but his ego of wanting to call the offensive plays got in the way, and that was a mistake. And he's obviously rectified that mistake now by hiring Kendall Briles.
Yeah, I think those are two of the biggest points. Also, we asked a lot, and I think some of the fans brought up the offensive line question. Again, he seems very optimistic. I think the thing he pointed out, number one, there's a lot more depth than last year. They have some more guys coming in. He was very impressed in the spring, I think, with the fact that they executed, even though, you know, the squad was split in half. You had Dickerson sitting out. You had Minshew sitting out. So, I mean, a lot of starters weren't there. But, yeah, he seemed, again, I know fans are not going to get buy-in until they see it, but he seems pretty encouraged by what he saw in the spring.
And we kind of saw it, Gene. There you go. Here.
Pull it back.
We kind of saw it, Gene, in actually in the spring game. I mean, there was some proof in that pudding. I know it's just a spring game, but there was some proof there that they are better up front. And they didn't have Dickerson or Minshew, who he obviously talked about today, thinking that both of them will be starters. Minshew had neck surgery. Yeah. Dickerson, they're trying to get 100% right for the fall because of all the issues he had last year. So when you keep that in mind, that they didn't even in the spring, they didn't have two of their most experienced, best guys, that does bode well. Now, look, we know it's not going to be the 80s Redskins offensive line. We know they're not going to be incredible. But if they can be average or even a little below average, that should still equal at least a few more wins because of what they were. Even one of the questioners tonight, one of the fans said, and he was very complimentary, he said he was happy that Willie was his coach, but he did call the offensive line abysmal, which it was. That's kind of polite. I've used every adjective you could possibly use to describe that thing. Abysmal fits. But, yeah, I do think that it's not just coach speak. I do think there is a reason to be genuinely encouraged by what you saw in the spring game from the offensive line.
I think another thing that they did here, besides I think this is a nice venue to have an event like this, is they're bringing players, and they brought DJ Matthews in here, Jacksonville native. It's interesting that he said he's played a couple times in, what is it, the TIAA Bank Stadium. I know they've changed the name, but whatever it is, he's played there a lot going back to his Trinity Christian days. And in Panama City, the next stop on Thursday, I believe they have Janarius Robinson and Keyshawn Helton going there representing Panama City. So I think that's a nice touch to bring them and let the fans interact a little bit more with the players, that kind of thing. What did you take? Now, he said it was interesting during our post-spring game press conference where he said DJ Matthews might be the most improved player. And talking to him today, and he was up on stage, and we got to talk to him a little bit, put a lot of credit towards what Ron Dugans has brought to him. And you know, Coach Taggart was very complimentary of what Dugans, who he had before at USF, tried to hire initially, what he's brought to that receiver unit. Yeah,
I mean, we know all about Dugans. That's what he even said to the crowd. He's like, y'all know all about Ron Dugans, but still, here's why I liked him as a coach. Yeah. And he said the main thing was, like, he'll get on them, but he makes sure they don't leave his sight before he tells them, you know, that he loves them, that he's with them, and all that. He doesn't just get on them and let them be. He really does make sure the players know that they care. I thought one of the interesting things of the whole, and it was just almost a throwaway sentence from DJ, that when Dugan's got the job, he went to DJ Matthews' house and sat with him for 30 or 45 minutes to explain his expectations. I thought that was really, I thought it was pretty cool. I don't know how many coaches do that, how many position coaches do that, but Dugan's did. I think Dugan's is really embracing this role, his return to Florida State, and hey, let's hope it works out like the last time he was in Tallahassee.
And technically speaking, too, and we saw a little bit, we got to get in the spring, what he did in terms of being more hands-on, teaching the guys. DJ pointed out how he teaches us a lot more how to use our hands and run our break off our routes and that kind of stuff. Right. I think from a technical point of view, I think there'll be an improvement there as well. So I know we're going to have a lot more content on Warchant.com. You're going to write a little bit about what's gone on today, aren't you, Corey?
I am right about his message that he said to us he didn't want to talk about 2018 anymore. Yeah. He said to the crowd that he didn't want to talk about 2019 anymore. Now, he said it jokingly, and it got a really big laugh. But there's some truth to that. There was abysmal. I'll use the word abysmal from the gentleman earlier tonight. It was an abysmal season, and they need to build. They need to, obviously rebuild from that. And that's the message he'll have on all these stops: is forget about what you saw last year. We're different. The culture is changing. We're a different offense. He learned from his mistakes. He went against his instinct. Now he's going with it, and he does think. And I don't think it's coach speak. I do think he thinks they're going to be much improved, and I do too. I mean, I think you're looking at an 8-9 win team if they stay healthy, maybe, and that's an improvement over 5 wins, Gene.
That's it. It's a big improvement over 5 games.
Heck yeah, buddy.
Definitely. Well, Corey, thank you for doing this. We got a lot more on Warchant. Of course, Corey will have a write-up on this. You can watch the videos of Willie Taggart and DJ Matthews up there. And you guys are going to do an on-the-road wake-up Warchant. I mean, that's always interesting
Road
to see
trip.
you and Aslan in the car doing the.
And it's a after dark, so anything goes when we're on the road coming back from Jacksonville.
So look forward to that. Make sure you subscribe to that as well. Signing off from Top Golf here in Jacksonville for Warchant.com, and thank you, Aslan, who's been here with us. Good night.